Hi there. Today we're going to be tying the extended ostrich body damsel. This is a great stillwater pattern that's worked out really well for me this spring. Let's tie one up and hopefully it can get you some fish too. Here's a pic of the materials that I use to tie this fly. That is UTC 70 in light olive. It's modeled bead chain eyes in medium and dyed golden olive Hungarian partridge feathers, 1/4 inch scudback olive, and C49 S12 mustad. It's a scud hook. Eye stub olive brown. You can use the UV if you have it, or the UV eye stub, and ostrich in olive. Here I'm securing the eyes with figure 8 turns, going around back and forth over the eyes, sometimes reversing it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of drop of Sally Hansen and put it right between the eyes, right on the thread there. And then you're going to take your thread and start wrapping it back towards the end of the shank there. Now you're going to cut 3 strands of ostrich as close to the stem as possible, and then secure it with your thumb and index finger. Now you're going to take a little bit of water and just run it over the plumes just so they stick together. So for this next part, you're going to make a little hitch knot close to the thick part of the plume, the part that was closest to the stem. You don't want to make that hitch knot anywhere near the tip because it's a weak part of the plume and it will break off. So now you're going to cinch that hitch knot and you will have 3 of the thick plume fibers sticking out. Here is the braiding of those 3 fibers that you will need to do. It's best just to watch this video or even Google how to braid. It's kind of tricky to explain, but you could probably get the idea by watching the video. Once you've, say, prepared about 2 or 3 centimeters of the ostrich braid, you can start applying it to the hook. I usually like to run it about 1.5 centimeters past the shank. You don't want it too long, but you definitely want it to be able to articulate in the water. Once you get to this step, you're going to secure your ostrich braid onto the shank of your hook with a few wraps on it and then 2 or 3 wraps in front of it. And then you're going to take your fingers and just go behind the hitch knot on the braid part of the ostrich, maybe, I don't know, 1/2 centimeter, however long you want that tail part to be, and just give it a little pinch and break it off. You can use scissors, but I find it's really nice and gives a nice sharp look to it if you pinch it off with your nails. Now you're going to take the excess ostrich and just wrap it up in your fingers a little bit, kind of twist it together, and just wrap it around this shank of the hook, just giving it a little bit more body, working your way up the shank towards the eyes. Once you've wrapped up close to the eyes, just secure it down, couple wraps on it, couple wraps in front of it, but just make sure there is a little bit of a space there between the body and the eyes. And now you're going to take some of your 1/4 inch olive scudback and just cut a little V in the front of it. And then secure that down close to the eyes. Now you're going to pull that forward and just give it a few wraps just before the eye there, about 3 or 4 wraps just to secure it down. Now what you're going to do is select a nice piece of your olive partridge feather, and you're going to prepare the feather by pulling off the kind of softer parts of it and leaving the more speckled parts on the front. Here is the prepared feather with just the speckled spots on the front of it, and the kind of longer, fluffier parts have been torn off by peeling it towards the back, peeling it towards where my thumb would be on the picture there. Then you're going to separate some of the longer fibers of the feather, pulling them back, and then just leaving a little few in the front, the shorter ones, because the shorter ones you're going to cut off. Now once you cut off those shorter ones in the front, you're going to have like a V-shaped here, and that's what you're going to use for your legs. Now this part can be a little bit tricky. So what you're going to do is just kind of pull the feather down a little bit, like your legs down a little bit here, and then just try and line up the stem so it's in between the two eyes, like you can see in the picture there. You can tie these legs in traditionally, like how you would a hackle, but I find I like doing it this way because it just gives me a little bit more control with my legs. I can have my legs coming straight down like you might find in a calabatus pattern, or coming straight out like I'm going to make it for this damsel. Or you can even, if you really twist that feather down, you can have it so they pop up like a wing. The important thing is when you're tying them down is just to do a couple loose wraps so you can get the legs where you want them. Then once you're comfortable with that, you can kind of secure them. Now with the partridge legs secured, I've given it a couple wraps in front of the feather, and now I'm just going to give it a little clip here with my scissors as close as I can without actually cutting the legs. So now we're going to add a little bit of the olive brown ice stub onto our thread and start building up the head part of the damsel. Now we're going to take our scud back and pull it nice and tightly over the eyes, over the head that you just built up. Give it about 4 wraps and a good solid whip finish, and it's almost complete. Now what you're going to do is take your scud back, hold it firmly, and with your scissors make a 45-degree angle incision on the scud back, kind of parallel with the right hand side of the legs. Then what you're going to do is take your scissors and do another 45-degree angle on the other side, parallel with the left hand side of the legs and the pick, and that's going to form your wing case for your damselfly. Then what you want to do is just take a little bit of Sally Hansen or head cement and just coat the top of your fly, your head. Doesn't matter if you get it over the eyes. Make sure you get it over your whip finish, but do be careful. You don't want to get it on your partridge, or your legs will stick together and they won't pulse in the water. So that's it. That is your extended ostrich body damsel pattern. It's been a great pattern for me this spring so far. It's really picked up the fish. I like to fish it on a type 3 line with about usually 10 to 12 feet of water. I park myself on the reeds and I'll cast it out diagonally, letting it sink down the shoal, and about a 15 to 20 second countdown. You can start figure eighting it back, or start skipping it, or start ripping it back, and it really seems to pick up the fish. So hopefully you can tie some up and have some good success with it. Thanks.